Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Tangent here on WildTangent on YouTube, on the internet. It is show 29, and it's for 8/29. That's kind of funny. I'm back from Gamescom here with Brooks. Welcome, man. How have you been?
I've been doing pretty well. I'm dragging a little bit today. But
yeah,
we'll get through it.
I know. We were talking about like how we're dragging, trying to get back in action. Welcome, Baltimore. How are you, man? Welcome, Fixstar, Dios. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. We are, back and in action from Gamescom, which was a huge thing. Took some video, did some stuff over there. Then we're backing right into to PAX West that starts tomorrow.
We were off last week, but we kind of discussed it. It looks like every Thursday for the rest of the year we will be here. So
rock on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. It'll be good. Well, thank you, Fixstar. Evening to you. We're drinking water with bubbles. Nothing
what
special.
flavor is that today?
It's natural.
Oh, okay.
We work in an office where they have like taps that look like beer, so they kind of make you think you're going to get something good. They give you sparkling water.
It's all right. It's not the kombucha, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, thank God it's not the kombucha. Yeah, we did take a little bit of video. I don't know if anybody wants to see that. I actually...
Yeah, why don't you throw on some of that footage you grabbed when you were over there?
Where's that fancy video? That's the news. That's the game. I think this is it. We may have to turn it down, though. This is what Gamescom actually looked like. Sorry, we can't always hear exactly how loud things are, so you got to give us a little bit of a break. We should be wearing microphone or headphones, but we don't like that. So, but this is it. This is actually the footage. Gamescom is packed. I don't know. We talked about it briefly.
We've talked about this a couple of times.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'll turn it down just a little bit more, just in case. But yeah, they have tons of people, and they have no air conditioning in the building, and it's super warm in Germany at this time of the year, so kind of smelled. I mean, every day I went back to the hotel, I was like, okay, I'm going to jump in the shower first, just because you bump into people and you're like shoulder to shoulder, and you're like, ugh. You don't squeak by, you slide by. Everybody's sweating.
I don't go very many places without air conditioning, so being in a room with 150,000 people.
Yeah, it was a little different.
And it just for people that the scale of this is if you've been to, E3 or PAX or something along those lines. This is like in multitudes the size of that, right?
Oh, for sure.
This is not just one expo hall, but this is, multiple expo halls worth.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, this is the smaller part showing right there, but that's where the indie stuff is, which is always cool to go check out. But yeah, most of the show is just massive halls that look like stadiums.
Right.
There's a bunch of them. Oh, your buddy in another one says it's warm. I bet. I mean, Baltimore, it would have been warm probably most of July into August over there, it seemed like. I mean, everybody was complaining about it. So.
Well, yeah, I hadn't caught wind about the whole air conditioning thing. Then when Miguel got back, we were, I don't know, one day I think you were out of the office for some reason, so him and I were at Panera, and he was like, "Man, I will tell you, I'm over at Gamigo's headquarters, and they just open the windows. There's no AC," and I'm sitting there and I'm shaking my head at this because that is like standard. They're in Seattle.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Businesses don't have air conditioning there. It's kind of ridiculous.
So then I kind of thought about that, and I was sort of like, I just sort of shrugged it off or whatever. And then you got back and said the same thing, and I was like, and then we kind of further talked about it, where it's like, up until the last handful of years, it wasn't really a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure somewhere in the past they've had like a hot day, but not like this. I mean, it's continuous like that.
Weeks at a time. Yeah.
This is when viruses kind of start to outbreak and hit the world. And you know what else hit the world? We got to jump into news, so that's what we're going to do now. Project Resistance hit the world today. Mm-hmm. A little bit. I mean, Capcom's not known for keeping the cat in the bag for too long. And you, funny enough, got an invitation to go to this.
I got an invite to this here a few weeks ago, a month ago. I'm up in Seattle or Bellevue.
Oh, you're in Quebec, Fixstar? Cool. Very nice. Sorry.
Very, very cool. So I wasn't in LA to do this, and I kind of just shrugged it off, and I was like, well, it was a part of some Resident Evil Ambassador program that I had signed up for, like,
generations ago.
A long time ago. Like,
I remember when you started that. They were doing that in 2008 or 9. It was basically when Resident Evil 6 came out, wasn't it? Is that when it started?
This had the original purpose of it was so you could. It was kind of this portal where you could go in and take some of the assets for your website or your channel or whatever it is, right? That was how it had started, and then they had slowly build on top of it. So I hadn't gone. You and I, we were sitting at our desks, which are, kind of side by side.
Yeah. And we were next to each other. We're just like bound in perpetuity near each other.
And we were talking about this, but today it kind of hit the wire that there was an announcement that in September there will be an announcement. Right, so that they were going to show something off at Tokyo Game Show on the 16th, I want to say, and then somehow some people online had found a teaser trailer and had started scraping images. So now there's actually images of what this game may be.
Oh, okay.
So
no, and yeah, we got some. Well, we pulled down the same images the rest of the world has.
Yeah.
And that's these. These are the 4 images that kind of like give it away that it's a Resident Evil game, and how people. It was kind of funny. I heard some folks talking about it. And by the way, the ambassador program started in 2016. That's what it's saying here on their site. That sound about right? It seems like it, but yeah, that's what it says.
I'm not. Maybe other forums or something like that,
because
it goes back a little further than that, or that's my recollection of it. So
I agree, Baltimore. I'm a little iffy. We were both a little iffy on the whole co-op. Co-op's fine. We actually had a good time. We played Resident Evil 5 when it came out.
A lot of 5
co-op, and I thought it was pretty good. But I get your point. Like, I understand. They've had a good run. They had Resident Evil 7. They had Resident Evil 2. It's about time for them to screw it up. That's their standard procedure. Some folks pointed out that the guy looks like maybe he's wearing like kind of like a Letterman's jacket or something like that. It says raccoon on it. And people were picking it out like, okay, that's Raccoon City. It doesn't really kind of lay out when it happens. So my guess is it's going to tie into 3 somehow.
I would think so. My initial reaction to this was Outbreak. That's
what Baltimore just said. Yeah. Outbreak, kind of spiritual successor to it thing.
Then there's as far as rumors or speculation can go, then some other people started to think that maybe less on the Outbreak front and more on a 4v1 PvP kind of thing. So
yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. So I don't know. I'd like to see I guess Outbreak would be better. Like a redesigned Outbreak would be better than going to what we've heard, which is potentially the idea that it could be like Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight. Right. So I don't know. I don't really see it having the pull. We were talking about this earlier, having the pull to kind of do the Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th, like 1v5 or what is it? 1v5, 1v8, whatever it is.
For sure.
The number doesn't really matter. Like Dead by Daylight, yeah. That's right. I don't know if Resident Evil would fit in that kind of a game. I guess it could. You'd made the point about what? Take every big boss from the games, and you might have something.
I could see how they could do this. My gut tells me, you and I think of collectively, if not, most of the multiplayer ones. I'm talking like the tactical ones, the Umbrella Corp ones. I think we've collectively have probably played every single Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
So my interest is peaked, but I like it more as a multiplayer together game than I do as a 4v boss or 5v boss or whatever it is.
It might be. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. What'd you say, October-ish?
September 16th.
September 16th?
I think is when they're going to talk about this a little bit more. You actually have experience playing Outbreak, which was
I played Outbreak 1 and 2.
Yeah,
when you think about it, they had... sorry, guys, we had the volume down I think they probably were a little bit ahead of its time because if I remember correctly, it wasn't just 4 players. It was like up to 8 players online. And it was right in the beginning of when you had like a broadband adapter for the PS2. Mm-hmm. You had to have the hard disk drive, thing. So basically, folks that would have bought Final Fantasy, what was it, online or 11?
Yeah.
They would have had some of the stuff.
Right.
There was a ton of folks from Japan playing when you got matched into a game because it was blind match. It was like you're just being thrown in. There was no voice chat.
Right.
It was all like you could make noises with commands on the controller. It was okay, but it was like tank controls and very slow, and like people would get stuck in a door or get stuck on a walk or something, kind of stuff like that. Oh, Dakota, welcome.
Looks like Sarah's joined us.
Awesome. Welcome. So I don't know. Not a real big interest.
We'll wrap around to this
in a couple
September,
weeks.
And we'll talk about this again for a few minutes.
And jumping over to something else that had zombies, did everybody get a chance to check out the new, what was it, kind of gameplay of Dead Island, or the new Dying Light? It's Dead Island, it is Dead Island. Dying Light 2?
Yeah.
This is the way to make a zombie.
Yeah, earlier this week, they publicly showed off what had been privately shown off previously.
Yeah.
And they did about a 25 minute full gameplay demo of Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
And it
looked really good.
Yeah, this is kind of a trailer of some bits and pieces that they showed, but they showed off a pretty extensive set of, we'll call it a couple of missions, some communication, some parkour, some just sort of what the game looks like.
Yeah.
That had previously only been seen by other developers and kind of some of the gaming press.
I'm excited for it. We've played.
Oh yeah.
Lots of times.
Oh yeah.
Played through the whole thing. Actually, folks in the chat have played with us as well in most cases.
Yes.
But we just deployed it on WildTangent.
Yep.
Funny enough. So
Tuesday.
What, the Dying Light Essentials, the whole thing, essentially the entire game,
the
all
base,
the DLC,
some of the DLCs,
all that. Now we've got this to look forward to here in a couple weeks. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'll be, I guess final thought on that is it looks fantastic. It looks so good. I question whether it's definitely a PC game. I question whether this is a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One game.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
I could very well see there being I could see it being an end of 2020 type of game.
And as we crank through the news here real fast, just letting everybody know, tomorrow is a big Cyberpunk announcement. They're going to be doing gameplay. Yep. 10:30. You can find it probably on YouTube, on cyberpunk2077.com, I think is their thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They're, funny enough, PAX West, like I said, starts tomorrow, so you'll see a little bit of Cyberpunk probably there. There was a lot at Gamescom, which would be interesting.
They had a big booth over at Gamescom, so I gotta think they boxed that up and took it over to Seattle.
Yeah, I would hope they do, because this is a really good game. I'm looking forward to this. This is probably my 2077. My 2020 game that I'm excited for.
This looks so.
There's so many though. There's like Watch Dogs Legions. There's all sorts of
Last
stuff.
of Us 2.
Last of Us 2.
There's that Ghost game out of Sony, right? I mean, there's some heavy hitters next year for sure.
There'll be a lot. But yeah, definitely look for that tomorrow. You'll probably see announcements on Twitter and everything when it goes live.
I think this is going to blow up in the morning.
It'll be a big thing. The other big thing is it September 25th?
25th, 26th?
25th through 26th. Okay. You can preload it now, or you can pre-order it now on iPhone and Android. Mm-hmm. Mario Kart comes to mobile. It's going to be on your smartphones. Yep. We've tried it. Brooks actually had access to it 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, I had that Pixel phone.
Yeah.
So I got into that beta. And
you got into the beta.
All messing with it at the office.
I think based upon some people I've talked to over there, they did some changes. Mm-hmm. I think it's ready to go. When we first played it, it was kind of like playing a bowling game with bumpers in the gutters. So you really just bounced off of stuff. It wasn't like a proper Mario Kart game.
Right, yeah.
Right?
It looked great.
Yeah. Oh, something's playing in the background. Thank you, Baltimore. I knew that would be this thing. Sorry, man.
Oh. It looked great, but it had a little bit of that. We were all sitting there and we were like, this feels a little easy. Easy, is that maybe the word we all took away from it as we were playing?
Yeah, it was definitely built not for somebody that had played Mario Kart over and over and over.
Right.
For years. You pre-registered already, Baltimore? Yeah, I did too. I got it on iPhone. You've got an iPhone now.
I haven't pre-registered.
I think Dakota in chat, she probably will get it on her Android. I think that's what she uses still, her new Samsung or something. So, we'll get a chance to see what everybody thinks. I have an Android device as well. I should probably pre-register on there too.
I'm very interested when they release these mobile games, but I've played so many phone games that like I don't play very much on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know. We'll see. We're hoping for the best. Dr. Mario was pretty good. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you did on Android, Baltimore. Okay, gotcha. You've done it through the Google Play Store then.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to hear what everybody has to say. Hoping for good things. And again, just to let you guys know, we're going to be down at PAX. So that starts tomorrow in Seattle, and we'll be filming kind of like what we did there. Mm-hmm. Bring some information back. Let you guys see some cool stuff. Maybe even do some developer interviews because we've got some friends that are going to be down there and different things.
A little easier to travel to. It's 15, 20, or I guess maybe in your case 30 minutes away or whatever. But, Gamescom is quite the jaunt for some people.
Yeah, right? I carried probably 40 pounds of camera gear and that stuff over there to record. It was ridiculous. So here, I just got to throw it in the car. And I can take like nothing of what I took because I only need a camera and my microphone stuff and all that. So we'll definitely hit up PAX and then kind of show some stuff from there so everybody gets a chance to see next Thursday though.
Yep.
It'll be next Thursday.
Yep.
The problem I was gonna, just so everybody knows, I was gonna try to stream from Gamescom. But because there's like 150,000 people in one area, it basically takes down the cellular network. So nobody has enough bandwidth to stream. I would try it from PAX, but probably the exact same thing because Seattle gets about 100,000 people rolling through there.
Even in their attempts, because I want to say last year they drug in one of those cow type devices, and even that it's like, if you drug in 50 of them or something like that. So I suspect cell coverage will be spotty still. Yeah.
No, Mario is cool. We like Mario Fixar. We're all bored on that. Dakota says she's moving out to Seattle. It's perfect weather right now. You love it.
Perfect.
Bring the family out. You got Casa de Index. We've got some stuff out there.
Yep.
Places set up for people to live. You'd love it. Let's jump in. We're done with news, so we're going to start a little bit earlier. We're going to get out of news. We're going to try to jump in and do a little bit more Bioshock. So we're going to start with one. Let me find the keyboard. Get that figured out. And we're going to start at the beginning of one because we're going to bounce through it, and then we're going to do two, and then we're going to jump into Infinite, but we're going to start at a different spot in Infinite. So just in case anybody hasn't checked it out.
We just launched all three of these games.
Yeah.
They're on the front page of our site and Games app today.
Yeah. Do you want to run this one, or do you want to wait until you're in?
It's up to you. If you want to play this one, I'll do some commentary on this one.
You do some commentary. I'll play a little bit. I never play. Okay, we're gonna do new because the problem is there is no way to do cloud saves, even on Steam saves for Bioshock 1 and 2. Bioshock Infinite, you can do that. We already have done that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to pull down those. We've been through so many times through Bioshock. What was it? When we first started working together in 2007, that was the first thing we talked about was Bioshock.
That was one of the first big games because at the time I had either just gotten one, and I don't even actually. I think it might be I didn't have one yet.
Yeah.
And if I recall, and I'm almost positive about this, the original Bioshock was for the consoles was Xbox only, Xbox 360 only at the time.
Yes. Yeah, the original one was because they were having an issue with the PS3 version.
Something
with
like
the
that.
programming or something like that. They were having a tougher time getting it done.
And now reminder, this is I was probably 19 or 20 when we were talking about this. But this was one of the first games where you were playing it, you were really into it, and I was kind of like, I kind of shrugged, and I was like, it's like an underwater shooter, dude. And you were like, hold on. And at that point,
we need the bigger picture.
And then at that point, you were already far enough in the game to know that there's more than first appears.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the statute of limitations is probably up on sort of the plot of this game, but we won't dive.
Yeah, we won't go into too many
far,
spoilers.
But
this is a good game. This one, this is the remastered version.
Yep.
So we were looking at that. What was the original one? We figured it was probably like 6 gigabytes or something like that.
Yeah.
This one is 20 gigs. I thought it was 10, but it's actually 20. So, I mean, they did a really good job. It supports up to 4K.
Yep.
The game is beautiful. It's phenomenal. The water effects were like generations ahead of everything else at the time. It was kind of one of those crazy things.
The art style
of the
art style of the game and the way that the characters are sort of designed and the color palette they use and the lighting that they have, it lends itself really well to gracefully age.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't really use a lot that was, the 3D that was around this time. Everything looks really super smooth. Fire effects are realistic. Like some of that water there. I mean, we could nitpick and go like, the splashing is kind of a little rough, but overall, I mean, all the textures look really good. The fog effects. I mean, they added enough in. And Blind Squirrel was the one that did the porting, I think, or the remaster of the game. So they've always done a good job. Oh, it was a fantastic game, Dakota, for sure.
So let's see. I own this thing 3 or 4-fold over. I own this on so many platforms. I've probably platinumed this on more than one platform.
Oh, yeah. This was one of the ones I agree. I platinumed it at least once. You were the first one I knew that went through and got all the tapes, though. The cassette recording.
That was the final thing. That was the final thing on Xbox that I hadn't done. Yeah, I have. Even recently, earlier, not this year, I think at some point last year, I even dove in and I had held off on the collection. But at some point, the collection went on sale for like $30, and I still have that installed on my current, PlayStation 4.
Yeah, it's good game. Still, I'd go back and play it. In the deco architecture, it's kind of unique to this game. Like every time you see it, you know exactly what game it is. It's not like there's too many games that have used that, Art Deco kind of style.
And then there's another part of this game that after the fact kind of became especially interested in, where if you're playing this game, Ken Levine, the director of the game, it's kind of about politics and economics gone wrong, right?
Yeah.
Of like, the game is fundamentally about, it operates in a world where a true free market exists. I mean, and in an absolute kind of way.
That's the best intro to any game ever.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
mind-blowing. Yeah, no, it's
because it borrows heavily from the Ayn Rand novels, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and the whole design. I mean, I don't know if you remember. Some of you might. If you had a PS3, there was remember Home, PlayStation Home.
Yeah,
They had a couple themes that like homes you could buy that were Bioshock.
Okay.
Like themed, and they looked really good, and like just all the Art Deco design, the signage, and the neon lighting, and everything being underwater. I don't know. It's just surreal.
This all, I mean, for a lot of people, they put this disc in and they're sitting here playing it, and you're like, okay, plane crash. And then you get thrown into this underwater metropolis, basically. You see all this gorgeous, to your point, signage and lights and colors, and you're like, great, I'm looking forward to being here, and, well...
This is going to be great.
Well,
damn.
Then you step off the bathysphere, and, that...
Maybe not so great. Get back in. Send me back. In the story as you go through it, I don't know. There was, I guess in comparison to, like, a twist... kind of in the game. I mean, this one has one of the better ones.
Yes.
Similar to the level of like certain Metal Gear stuff that Kojima has done.
Sure.
And, that you weren't really prepared for it, so it was always. It's.
There's a little bit of hoodwinking. That goes on.
They kind of in the writing and all that, and kind of the way that the story unfolds. You're like. I should have saw it coming, but then, and this was the first playthrough, should have saw it coming, but they did such a good job of storytelling that you were like, I guess I don't feel too bad for falling for it, kind of thing.
Oh, I fell for it hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, would you kindly?
One thing that I find a little bit underrated about the game is a lot of games will just pile a ton of characters in and a ton of exposition in, and they're constantly, all these characters are explaining complicated things to other characters.
Oh, yeah.
This game...
It didn't need to do that.
This game, it tells the story of what you're doing in a bunch of different ways, through the environment, through the art, through these tapes you pick up that are recordings from past Rapture.
Yeah.
Right? And not like past, but I mean 10... I think from
was it 10 years?
59, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was like New Year's Eve.
Correct.
Essentially, when everything broke down.
Yeah, and
there's our man Atlas. We're gonna jump back on the screen for a bit.
And then as you've got the game, it's got a handful of very pivotal characters, as opposed to this trove of here's 30 characters, all of with mixed agendas. It's got its core group of 6 or 8 characters that it kind of focuses around, and there's like other players around you, but
God, to Baltimore's point, he had said like the remaster added a lot more in. You can definitely tell like there's far more textures and design to it, and a little bit more further depth that you can see, or draw distance.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
It looks really good.
This game was built on a modified version of the Unreal 2.5 engine.
God, think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what they squeezed out of that to make this is pretty impressive.
There's our man Atlas. Gonna help us out. I love that they had drones already back in.
Oh yeah.
We have a big drone interest here in the office. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So it's so funny. There's so many games that utilize this wrench.
Yes.
And pay homage to like the design of Bioshock. Oh.
And I think even this was kind of, in a sense,
everything is so immersive.
Everything, I think it was kind of paying homage to one of the more popular silent protagonists, Gordon Freeman from Half-Life 2.
Yeah, that's what I would say this was kind
crowbar,
of like doing.
Right.
They actually came in and What are some of the other games? So we were just talking about one. Well, Prey.
Yes.
Prey the new Prey is kind of like that. There were a couple other games that we were talking about just recently that were doing this. And indies are doing this with their games as well. We're going to grab some... Was it Adam?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like some of the, what was it? GTA 3 was pretty popular. You had Portal.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty popular. You've got Dishonored, and you've got Corvo, who, even though is named, is silent the whole game.
Yep.
Right? Master Chief never talks.
Yeah.
Right?
Never talks.
So
plays through the entire game.
I guess who's the original silent protagonist? The Doom guy from Doom.
Yeah, what, right? Demon Slayer or whatever. Is that his name? Well, no, he was... He was the Slayer? I forget how that went. Yeah, Wolfenstein. Well, Blazkowicz, he actually talks now, though.
Right.
Yeah, they've changed his character initially. I think it was just because of they didn't have the ability to put voice in.
But yeah, so it's like you could probably say whether it's Gordon Freeman or you've got Jack from this game, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got, Link's a pretty popular one, I suppose.
Yep.
I don't think Link's ever talked.
Link doesn't say much. He makes noises, but yeah, he never says much. Yeah, there's a lot of characters like that. And it's kind of fun. Well, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Mm-hmm. They never said anything. Fallout 4, they tried to change it. They took that away. Pretty quick. Skyrim, most of those characters don't ever say anything.
It's all right.
I guess they have like a response, but there's no voice for them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, in this one, basically you're a strong silent type. That's what you're at.
And even though you do find out your character's name down the road, as you're playing this game, I remember playing it as you're kind of taking this character on, and people are talking to you as you're going through this whole experience, and people have their agendas.
Yeah.
In this game, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's got something they're trying to accomplish down here in a flooding world. Look at that fish.
And this is
a high-quality fish.
In a way, this is sort of the spiritual successor to System Shock, right?
It was. Yeah.
So
that's a big thing because
System Shock did the tapes.
Yep.
And
essentially had the same kind of, vibe to it, where you were in a unique setting.
In a space station.
Right, yeah. So it wasn't like anything that was on Earth kind of thing. It's not like competing with Call of Duties or anything like that.
Something on the space station had gone horrendously wrong.
Yep.
And then you've got a fun, antagonistic character, Shodan, who...
Oh, grab some more Eve.
Who had an agenda.
Yeah. Now, the real combo was you weren't dual wielding in this game, but you kind of are.
Yeah.
You don't dual wield a weapon, but you dual wield, your abilities.
Yep.
Which is kind of shooting lightning, and this is what you upgrade through the different atom that you find within the game.
Well, you get in this game the
Gatherer's Garden is what it is, right? That's where you go and upgrade.
Yeah, so the finger quotes magic, I believe, they called them plasmids.
Yes.
And they were essentially science experiments. They were marketed to citizens as a way to improve yourself. And now, mind you, there's no FDA, there's no government meddling in this. It was, hey, we've got something cool, and people were like, sign me up and I'll pay for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Little did they know that to use this stuff, you had to come up with the atom, which then,
everybody got addicted to having this stuff,
right.
And there became this whole thing back and forth, the haves and the have-nots, and there's the kind of that, not geopolitical, but the economy kind of thing that
Oh,
played.
yeah.
Like people had no money
yeah.
in the slums, and then some people had like way too much money, and they ran the whole. Basically, everybody that's crazy in this is someone with money or power of
Yes.
some nature, right?
Yes, definitely.
So
yeah.
let's see here. Uh-oh.
And then, I mean, at the time, and some games since have kind of played with this
Look at that gun. It's massive.
sort of mechanic.
Okay, now it looks long.
But it was a little controversial when it came out, and you were like, you found the Big Daddies, and they were accompanied by the little sisters,
Yep.
and well, sometimes they just had to go.
Yeah. They have to. You have to make a choice.
Right.
Essentially, you have to decide whether you want to be a good guy or you want to be a bad guy in a
Yep.
way. Yeah. Yeah. Better than a lot of zombies. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would probably say handling these guys is probably a little bit better than actually zombies, where everybody's. Well, I mean, they're kind of zombie. I don't know. There's some trouble down here.
And even the style of this game, it didn't like the color palette that they used. It didn't go.
And I'm playing on easy, by the way. My hard difficulty. So. It's not that easy. Oh, jeez. There you go.
Yeah, this game can when you crank.
Oh,
this
when you play it on
difficult,
hard? Oof.
Yeah, you best be ready to take those Big Daddies on because they will crush you.
Yeah. I don't know how many times. Oh, is this our first tape? No. We
I think
haven't
that was
found
just some
yet.
cash.
This thing, I always thought we could get in here. I kept trying to get in and out of it. I don't know. Messed
Okay.
around with it forever. Okay, let's grab some money. Let's grab some of that. And we can duck. Yeah, that's right. I am playing on a controller, by the way, too. It's easier to kind of move and make it look reasonable and not jerky.
I don't actually think I've ever played this on mouse and keyboard. I think all the instances I've played, even when I've played on PC, has been on a pad.
I would say that I probably played it on stream back on my channel with mouse and keyboard.
Okay.
I think, because I played a lot of these. Yeah, definitely that Baltimore makes a good point. Your choices, your moral choices, and all that really play out in the end.
Yeah, and it's even there's the gentleman, the director of the game, Ken Levine, who's got something of an online social media presence. Been
Yeah.
a little quieter recently as he's been working on his new game. He even talks about the finality of the game and
Here's the first tape.
and why things end up the way they do, and whether the last hour of the game was their decision or the publisher's decision. So it's an interesting story to read into if you want some further inside baseball on kind of the makings of the game.
Yeah, and there's on the remastered version, there's that the developer
Yes.
documentary that you can actually listen to.
Yes.
While you play. So that's
Yep.
kind of a cool thing. If you turn it on, we didn't turn it on for this playthrough, but you could hear them talking about like the game and how they thought about what they thought about when they were designing it and coming up with it.
It's an interesting game to replay once you know the whole story. And everything about what you're doing as a parent, because it sort of changes how you view certain situations.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah's got a good point. They actually went through and altered all the little sisters, and that kind of flows into number 2 of where they came from and everything like that. So
Yep.
the story goes from one to the next to the next, and it does kind of wrap up. I don't know. I mean, by Infinite, it somewhat has.
It gets crazy. I mean,
It does, yeah. I mean, the story is not easy to follow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All 3 of the games are connected, though.
Yes, there is a connection to all of them. I'm gonna grab some change or make a phone call. There's a little sister. You saw her eyes in this tube. This is where they come from. If you've never played the game. Let's see here. I think we can go forward. Then you get flashbacks of like what's happened, and you hear kind of what's going on in the game through the minds of through the thought process or the thoughts of what spirits kind of through the game.
Yeah.
Here's another one.
Yeah, these I had not played.
Always good to dig around near toilets.
I had not played System Shock or System Shock 2 when I had played this, so I was none the wiser about this whole, because I knew a couple people that had, and so I thought this whole tape thing was fascinating, where you were getting these tapes and you were listening to essentially someone or something from the past, whether it was a setting or an event or a fight or a gathering, both positive and negative, because sometimes those tapes they're not just like horrific, murder scenes or whatever on every single tape, but it gives you a lot of color to how society used to be, and then you get the how society is now,
right?
And then as you play, you get to figure out how we got from then to where we
the
are.
Current scenario.
Yeah.
So here's the first time you get to see a Big Daddy. So that's the little sister.
Okay.
She's digging around.
Yep.
Basically sucking Adam out of dead characters that had it in their body.
Yeah.
From upgrading their plasmids.
Yep.
System Shock is really good. They're actually looking forward to bringing out a new version or an updated version of it.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the company that we've worked with? They got a
Is it
squid.
Starbreeze?
Is it Starbreeze?
I think so.
Maybe. Yeah, no. It's pretty interesting. So there's the Big Daddy. He's saying hello to this guy.
So Starbreeze had the rights to System Shock, and they sold it to Other Side Entertainment with the
That's
Sun.
it. Yeah, the Sun.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I had to look that up.
And then I thought it was another company down in Portland that was doing the remaster of it.
There's the guys in Oregon doing the remaster.
Yeah,
and then
that's
there's,
it.
And then there's the other entities that are trying to make the third game happen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's what it is.
And then
Mr. Bubbles.
And then even at that, there's been talk of for many years that there's
That's right, Sarah. Yeah.
that there's a studio that 2K has commissioned to actually bring this back, because this series has been dormant basically since 2013.
Yeah.
So we're
it
going
hasn't
on.
really had a lot done to it.
So I won't be surprised come, perhaps next E3 or next Gamescom 2020
If you're not hearing
that we see another Bioshock
Yeah.
placed in some setting.
I forgot about the sea slugs. That's right. That's where where the atom comes
Originally.
from. Yeah, originally.
Yeah.
So these are the Vita chambers. You played without the Vita chambers.
I have.
That's pretty damn tough. When you actually turn these things off and there's no way to save, you basically go all the way back to start. As far as I remember.
There's a trophy, and at the time...
Here, why don't you play a little bit? I'm going to reset our machine here to get it back up and running.
At the time, I believe the trophy was called Brass Balls, and I think it has been since renamed, but there's a variation of the gameplay where you play on ultra difficult with no Vita chambers, and enemy damage is doubled and your health is halved.
Yeah.
And it's a vicious way to play.
Oh, it's a tough. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of like trying to go through, and play like Dark Souls level of difficulty without dying. Because there are points when you've got this really maxed out on. I mean, we're playing on easy. When it's maxed out on hardcore mode, it gets tough. You haven't played Burial at Sea? That's one of the DLCs, right, for Infinite, which is really good. You learn a little bit about what goes on when you play that, for sure.
Yeah. It stitches it all together. Yeah. There's even so there's a portion, and I'll say this since we're not going to get there in Infinite. there are a couple characters in these games that sort of transcend
Yeah.
both series, and they sort of explain where some of these, where the slugs originate and how they relate to Infinite and Fink and...
Yep. Oh yeah, Fink and everything else. Yeah, that is 1999 mode, Baltimore, for sure. That's basically how it's set up. Man, it's tough. Oh, you're using the pistol now. You get into the hacking. I don't know. I appreciated they didn't do it through all the other games the same way, but I didn't mind the hacking in this. I thought it was a fun game.
I thought the hacking was great.
I thought they always should have made them mobile, because when this game came out, mobile was on, what would be considered dumb phones. You know what I mean? Like feature phones instead of like smartphones, like flip phones and stuff like that.
Google and Apple were not even around as phone companies.
I always believed that they should have made the hacking game into a mobile game and branded it Bioshock. I think I would have sold like amazingly well on that.
I remember sitting in your office at Real discussing this.
The girls turned out to be the best hosts for that. That's it. That's why they were involved.
Yeah, and there's some weird end
Mr.
around.
Frank created the orphanage to run his thing on his tests or whatever on them. That's right. I remember that. It's kind of funny. Go back. The last time I played this one was probably on the stream. So like I'll say 2014, 2015. Number 2, I don't remember playing since we talked about it on our stream or on our podcast.
Wow.
That's about the last time I ever played it. And then Infinite, obviously played it a couple times, like one on the cast and that stuff. The weapon upgrades looked really good, and I liked this one because they actually showed the weapon upgrades on the weapons.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought that was
Right.
cool. They stopped doing that on the other ones. I think they should have kept it, but that was my favorite part about Bioshock 1 was when you upgraded the weapon, when like the first time you were getting there and you were trying to get all the stuff to upgrade the weapons, you actually saw something for the effort on the weapon. Like the barrel chamber looked different,
Yeah.
or the gun hole, the gun stock looked different or something like that.
And you also had to find the weapon upgrade little machines. And
Yes.
And if you missed them, you couldn't always go back and get them.
Right. There was some,
Right.
it was basically like the tapes, the weapon upgrades, and the Atom or Gatherer's Gardens. If you missed those, you were kind of like screwed. You couldn't go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of reasons to
Yep.
replay this game more than once.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is basically where the tutorial stops. Yeah, Frank was a little sick individual.
What was it, Frank Fontaine?
Frank Fontaine, Atlas. Who else?
Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan.
Bridget Tenenbaum.
Tenenbaum. She was the one
Then
that
you've
kind of
got-
guarded the little sisters.
You've got Sujong the Doctor.
Yep. You have the guy that was the artist or whatever.
Yeah, from Fort Frolic. Oh gosh,
Yep.
the best level in the game.
Yeah, Fort Frolic probably is the best level. It reminds you of... Yeah, well, it would have came out about the same time. So yeah, like Wolfenstein 2009, Castle Wolfenstein. Yeah, it's so funny to replay some of these games and you're like, wow, they still hold up.
This game still holds up.
Yeah.
You know.
Not every game does, for sure. I mean... Yeah, he did like... Yep, Andrew Ryan did like his golf club. Now this is the game. This is what should have been a mobile game on dumb phones.
I'm trying to remember how to swap the pieces.
A?
Yeah, well that's flipping them. I'm trying to actually... There we go.
Oh, you just opened it. Oh, sorry. I see what you were saying.
Yeah.
Now you got to grab them and move them around. Yeah, that was the best minigame.
And I will tell you, when you play that on hard, there is no hesitation. It's like you start and that thing is just flowing.
Sandra Cohen.
Cohen, that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
it was the artist kind of
Yes.
thing. Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, we won't get... Well, that was Baltimore. We won't get that far.
Well,
there were books for this?
I don't know that the books...
Sarah or Dakota says so.
I don't know if they're considered canon.
Okay.
If they're written by the Ken Levine and his guys. That wouldn't surprise me, though, if that were the case.
Yeah, that would be interesting to read those. I've read... So the only books that I've read that pertain to a game when I was playing it was Rage and I think Gears of War.
I thought you did Dead Space.
Dead Space as well. Yes, Dead
Space
Space as well. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Those are the ones. Yeah, we got that hack done.
Oh boy.
There we go. The Latisse brother and sister. Yes, they were pretty crazy from Infinite.
Yeah, you know,
There's like a whole like thing around them, right? Like, I don't know. It got pretty crazy.
we'll tread into that here in about a half hour once we start playing that.
Yeah, once we jump into that one, we'll actually what we probably could do is jump from 1 to 2. Mm-hmm. Maybe get some extra time in on Infinite since we're going to start at a different spot on it.
So you want to start playing 2?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll jump over to 2 now. Since really, to Baltimore's point, we're out of the tutorial on this one. The game gets really, really good, and probably best to like experience it on your own.
Yes.
Because there's just so many things that can be. You can see so many of the secrets, but we definitely want to jump over to 2, take a look at that. And in Infinite, we're going to make an adjustment, and we're going to play somewhere in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you want me to grab that? I can do that. So let's fire up 2.
Yeah, so since...
Bioshock the Rapture.
Since
book is Bioshock
Since Dakota
Rapture.
had brought it up, so Fort Frolic is considered...
All right, Fixstar, thanks for stopping in.
Sorry. Fort Frolic's considered one of the best. I mean, all of Bioshock 1 is excellent, so I don't even know if it's fair to call it one of the best parts. But it is.
Yeah.
It's one of the levels that really, really resonated with people. So when 2 came around, 2 is actually built by a different team from 1. Ken Levine had stepped away, and Jordan Thomas, as far as I know, the designer of Fort Frolic, it was the director of this game, like director/writer. And Bioshock 2 returns to Rapture, right? So we're going back down, but this time, instead of fighting the Big Daddies, which was kind of the main hook of the first game, and how you interact with them, you also play as a Big Daddy this time around.
Yeah. So Sarah says that books are based on a myth, or on the myths of Bioshock.
Interesting.
So that's what the book is.
Okay. I had not heard that before.
We'll have to check that out.
And then, so, we get into this pretty quick. So, of course, since you're playing a Big Daddy, you couldn't just fight Big Daddies in this game. So one of the other narrative hooks was the advent of the Big Sister, who, unlike the Big Daddies from the first game, which were slow and cumbersome, the Big Sister is wicked and fast.
She moves pretty quick. Yeah. I remember we did, funny enough, so this was...
10 years ago.
10 years ago, roughly. No, maybe about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago. We did a podcast together, and this was one of the first games we covered, and we did like a 3-hour
Jeez.
podcast. We probably should have edited it, but we just sat there and talked through the whole game and thoughts on it, and went on and on and on forever. Oh, I'll actually do full screen while we go through this part. That's it. Yeah, no, it was this was a lot of game to discuss. I actually have the collector's edition of this game on Xbox 360, where you got the actual full like vinyl record.
Let's go out to play.
Right.
And the art book, I think it was, and it came with the game, and it came with some posters that if you run black lights over them, they actually show something different.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you have to play the game. Okay, I get you. You have to play the game and read the book to kind of understand what's going on in the book. That makes sense. Because there's a lot of like things you would have to know.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That makes sense.
Daddy. This way.
Yeah, so in this game, we are now seeing what happened that fateful evening. So in the first game, we never saw it. We only ever heard about it from tapes. This is New Year's Eve, 1959. So this is the night of what everyone considers to be the beginning of the end. How about that for Rapture?
Yeah. Essentially, that was kind of everybody's partying. There's bad guys kind of running around, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. You've got Fontaine has been plotting. You understand who Atlas was.
Yep.
You've got because it was Jack was. We'll leave that for another time. But
Yeah, exactly. You can't go too far into it because then you start to break things open.
Yeah. And I believe this is Tenenbaum here
Yep.
that we're running into.
Yep, and she was always the protector of the little sisters.
Yeah.
Kneel, please.
And her name makes it all the way into Infinite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your helmet.
She's one of the people. You like it when there's I agree. I'm a big fan of like backstories in stories of games.
Yeah.
That's why Metal Gear is really good.
Place
That's why
it
Bioshock's
against
really good. You know, you just go down the line. It's kind of all Fallout and everything else.
When a universe is
fire.
crafted and built and it's done well, it should want you just, I guess, it should leave you should leave it wanting more. So that's where some of that extended media,
For sure.
Whether
Yep.
it's books or comics or graphic novels it's because I think Resident Evil's even charted into like there was some Blu-rays and some DVD.
Oh yeah, there was like a
right?
couple other things. Well, there's a couple DVD movies. I had those. And
Not like the Mila Jovovich one.
no,
but
not like the
Leon and
Sony,
Chris
like we
and-
made
yeah.
an action adventure movie. No, they were like, it was Leon and Jill
Yep.
in one.
Okay.
And the other one I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, they kind of...
I'm almost certain Chris is in one.
Chris is in one of them, yeah. Yeah, and Dead Space, one of the better ones that did that was Dead Space. They had the books, they had 2 movies, they had the mini game that was available before Dead Space 2 came out, and then
That's
they had
right,
the games
yeah.
Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. And they did a really good job kind of bringing all of that together. And the story was really good. You got to learn a lot about, oh man, what was the religion that they had? I forget. Oh, there goes the big
off
sister.
The bat. But yeah, the extended media Dead Space was great because
Yep.
you got backstory on the religion, you got backstories on the corporations, you got backstories on, I guess, people getting sick.
And you found out like what happened to the actual Ishimura freighter and all of that, like when really what went on between the time it happened and you arrived. So they did a lot of really good things like that with it. So that's always really solid.
And I mean, for anyone listening, you don't even got to make another. You don't even got to make Dead Space 4. You can just remake the first one right now, and I'll be stoked about it.
I know. I'd still like to see Dead Space move on, but yeah.
It would look so good.
Oh, it's Sophia Lamb, not Tenenbaum. That's right. That's who that is right there in the picture. It's Sophia Lamb.
I'm trying to piece this together. Okay. Got it. Yes.
She took over, like, the place of Andrew Ryan, is what Baltimore's saying. I do remember that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Not that we want to say what happened to Andrew Ryan. It's so hard to talk about, like, certain things in these games and not tread near, like, spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, I think to some people, even people that haven't played it, I think are probably loosely familiar. I mean,
yep.
The story of this has been presented in, just kind of the gaming media in a bunch of different ways. But
oh, there we go. There's a little sister.
And that's how way back in the day. That's what led us into a 3+ hour podcast, was because we would do.
Oh man,
we would do ones where it was like we would talk about the gameplay and the mechanics, and then other ones we would be like, look, you got 60 seconds. Back out of this if you don't want to hear, and we would just dive down.
Yeah.
Right.
Sarah. Dakota says, nope. Dead Space, Needle and Eyes, nope. That was one of the worst parts in that game.
Mm-hmm. I just look at the visuals that we're seeing. If just like you take the visuals from like God of War and do that with Dead Space, it would just look. Oh, it would look borderline real.
Yeah. Yeah, being in space, that would be crazy. Or, specifically for Dakota, we could have Dead Space 2 in VR with the needle.
There you go, right there.
That would be interesting. Yeah, and, it's kind of funny. Like, most games now, they always try to add something in. I wonder, could you... I've heard people, like, have went in and toyed around with Bioshock and made it in VR. Not at the same level of VR.
Sure.
But made it work on a VR headset. I don't think that works very well. I think you actually have to have, like, VR development, obviously. And I would love to see it, because I'm still a big VR fan.
Yeah. I could see how people would do that, because even here you've got this helmet on, so your vision's a little bit obscured. So it makes sense, because a diver's helmet and a VR helmet, a 60s diver's helmet, so this is what, 69, 70?
Yeah.
They're kind of big. They're still
They
a
wouldn't be
bit
as
clunky.
clear as this. Yeah,
right.
Like the glass wouldn't be as clear as this. It's nice that you do have the big spinner. Getting a chance to play, I mean, that was the big thing in I think, if I remember a lot of the discussions and a lot of the hype around the game, people were like, I want to play as the Big Daddy. So, like, they basically fulfilled everybody's dream in number 2.
Right.
Being able to run around and play as that. And this game came out, what, 2 years after the original?
I think it came out pretty quick.
Yeah, it was pretty fast. I got to look
because when the first one came out, that game, it was, just...
This came out in 2010. No, that was Minerva's Den. Sorry. This came out in February of 2010. And the other Bioshock, I want to guess, was 2008?
2007. It was the end of 2007.
It was 2007. Yeah.
Which makes Infinite end of 13.
Yeah.
Because I believe
so August 2007 was when Bioshock came out. February 2010 was Bioshock 2. And then Infinite would have been, 2012 or 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Infinite was being developed.
Yeah, March 2013.
As this was being developed.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Dakota gets headaches from VR. That's a shame, too, because there's so many... Well, you've never tried a PlayStation VR or a Vive, have you? I know you guys use the Samsung ones and all that stuff, but I think if you were to play it on PlayStation, you might not get a headache as much. Although it's not, I mean, it's still possible.
I do find there's Tenenbaum. Okay.
At last,
Yeah.
a signal.
I do find
who are
the
bringing this
PC
to life.
and the console
Listen,
VR to be a
My
little.
name, it is Tannenbaum.
It's a little less
I know who
nausea-inducing.
you
are. Yeah.
You've got a
And
big
I am in
machine
much
kind
need
of
of
powered.
your help.
You
behind
don't
it.
have stutter. You
Yeah.
have the smooth
Atlantic
frame rates.
Express train station.
You know, now they do a really good job. We start to tangent. That's what we do here. Now they do a really good job of giving you tunnel vision so that it doesn't make you feel motion sickness. And good developers will use that where it kind of like No Man's Sky did it already. Fallout, Skyrim, Bioshock, Borderlands. Some of the ones that you've played as well with the Blood and Truth.
Where you so
They kind of like they bring the area that you can see in when you're doing fast motion.
as you're running, it doesn't force you to have this giant screen. It sort of
Yeah.
cones it in a little bit.
Yeah. And that helps a lot. That helps a lot. But definitely the smooth frame rate, that's part of the problem. If you don't have that, then man, VR can really be a drag
Yeah.
for sure. It's not really a good experience at all. You enjoyed the multiplayer in Bioshock 2? You know, I don't even know if I ever tried playing Bioshock 2 in multiplayer. No, I have. Because it was basically like Big Daddies versus Splicers, if I remember.
I only played it very, very,
Yeah.
very briefly.
There's, you know, I don't know, multiplayer for this, like Uncharted series, like, you know, Last of Us, I just don't play them as multiplayer.
I buy those knowing that what I'm really paying for is the single player game,
Yep.
the story, the cinematics.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas this, I've seen games do some interesting stuff where they take a game that's inherently single player and let you kind of run around and do stuff. But I'm okay when it's not included as well. I don't have to have it. All right.
No, I don't know. But bolt on in some cases. That's what I remember people saying, like, for this game was like, oh, the multiplayer's a bolt-on. I didn't think it was that bad, but it was definitely not like the reason why they made the game.
You know, some people weren't the biggest fan. I loved the big sister in this game. I thought this was great.
Oh yeah,
To go from this clunky, we're getting away because he's a boss, to this like hyper
mobile,
emotional,
kind of, yeah.
super fast. I don't have fuel.
Just gonna be beating her down.
I don't remember if this is a fight you can win.
Yeah, that was kind of the way it was, Baltimore. It was just because everything was multiplayer at the time. Like, every game had to have multiplayer or something, right? Like, that was like the industry jumping on a bandwagon, which, you know, not that they do that in a bad way, but it's like, sometimes it's like detrimental. For example, like season pass, or no, sorry, multiplayer pass, or online pass is what they call it. That was like a big thing from like 2006 or 2008 to 2000, 2007 to 2010, where like everybody had to like combat against like GameStop.
So every box copy came with one.
Yeah, and if you wanted to buy it, and if you bought it used, you could pay $10, and then you could have online access, through the store. Which, I get it. Oh wow, look at that. Nice. Now this is why you're Big Daddy right here.
Well, here was another thing, was that for all of Bioshock that you played, not only did you never play as the Big Daddy, you never went underwater.
Yeah, you never really went outside, yeah.
Right.
So now you get a chance, that's all you do. But yeah, it was just one of those things where, like, the industry tends to, like, jump on a bandwagon, and adding multiplayer to damn near every game was the bandwagon for a time period. Everything had to have multiplayer. I was really happy, honestly, when
Find me there.
Days Gone came out and there was no multiplayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, we're doing straight story.
Well, and we had said the same thing, where at first when Sekiro was announced, we were like, oh man, no co-op. And then we played it and we were like, well, I get it.
Uh-oh. Did we crash? Oh no, I thought we crashed.
You
were just standing still.
I was deep thought about Days Gone and Sekiro. But yeah, both of those games, I'd have loved to have run around with 2 players, but that wasn't kind of the intent.
Yeah, there's certain things that I want to see in games. Like in Days Gone, instead of having like multiplayer, I would have loved to have seen like co-op.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been cool to run around and do that.
Considering there's big chunks of the game where you have another player with
the whole time.
in-game character, whether it's Bruiser or further down, deeper into the game.
Yeah. So that would have been cool. Like this, funny enough, this reminds me of Soma when you're under the water.
Definitely, absolutely, it does.
For sure.
Yeah.
But then there's certain games where you're like, okay, single player's good, and then there's certain games where, like Dark Souls, you have to have, like, I am disappointed every time there's a game like Sekiro that comes out and there's no, co-op.
Right.
Or no invasion or anything like that. Like, that's the Dark Souls franchise. Any game that tries to be like that, you have to have co-op. Well, you have to have invasions and PvP.
Even when we played Neo and we were like, yes, we get to play, and then it was like, well, you can play once you both beat the level, and we were like, wow.
Yeah, Neo really didn't do it the right way, yeah. I agree with that. I hope that they fix that, though.
Yeah, when is that coming out?
Neo 2 comes out in a bit.
Jeez, that's got to be... That's not this year, right?
No, it's not this year. No, it's not this year. I like Neo, though. I like Neo. I like... The game looked amazing. It's just... Man, having... You're so close to being Dark Souls, and yes, it might seem like you're copying them, but it's a good recipe to copy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a bad recipe to copy. It's a good recipe to copy.
Well, even that, we're playing outside of the office. We're playing Remnant.
Yeah, Remnant is fun
right now, which borrows from many games.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, we looked at that game as we were playing it, and Remnant like has 6 or 7 components from other games. It was just like, wow, they really went through and picked cherry picked the ones that they wanted.
There's some Souls, there's some Diablo, there's some...
Neo 2 is expected to release in 2019 still, but...
Really?
That doesn't make sense now.
Now most who survive are like this.
Okay, I was going to say.
That can't be.
They're drug addicts, vicious animals.
Got a hack tool.
I think that they don't really have a firm date. Yeah, it still says 2019, but I doubt it's going to slip.
Ew, they changed the hacking. I forgot that they did that in this.
I didn't like this hacking as much. It was okay, but the other one was a little.
Was that
bit
in a
better.
response to people didn't like the hacking from the first one?
That would be my guess.
Okay.
My guess would be that they changed it because somebody complained. What? What's your what about, Dakota?
You brought this on yourself. What is this? The silent treatment?
But yeah, that's.
That's over.
I don't know.
I know every
Remnant.
play.
We were talking about that. I mean, that one has. It's kind of a little bit. I don't know what is it. It's a little bit Dark Souls, a little bit. What was the one we talked about? The bro fisting kind of game.
Army of Two.
Army of Two. It's a little bit Gears. It's a little bit. I don't know. It's just got a little bit of everything.
There's some looter shooter in there.
Yeah.
There's some Resident
There's
Evil.
some Diablo.
Like 5, 6
yeah.
bosses in there. Yeah.
Paradise was
They
born.
took and did a lot of that.
I don't know how you survived, but your suffering is over now. These men will ease
Okay.
your burden.
So if I'm going to pick up the sticks in Infinite.
Okay, yeah. Let
we're
me
gonna-
play a little
we're
bit
gonna
more.
trade on this one just.
What is coming out this year? Oh, we were saying that Neo 2 is still saying that it's coming out, but it's not. I don't see it.
She has found you.
Okay, how am I getting out of here? Hey,
see.
hey. Jesus.
Considering that Code Vein is this
Holy
year,
crap.
I don't see how Neo 2 comes out this year. Just don't.
I don't either. Yeah, with Code Vein's going to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
I got a chance to play the demo or the beta, and I'm on board for that one. That one looks good. There's a couple games. Obviously, Gears 5. Looking forward to that coming up. In about a week and a half?
9-9.
9-9. There's
Borderlands
on the
13th.
13th. Yep. And then there's Code Vein for me on the 25th. I think it is
27th, something like
25th
that.
or 26th.
Okay.
Those are the games that I'm looking forward to playing. Coming
Now
up.
you know of the enemy we share. So
Yeah, I'm in the
farewell.
middle of I'm playing Control right now, which I've been
You've been happy with
incredibly
that.
happy
Your
with.
eyes will
If you're a
help you
fan
to
of
fight
Alan
her.
Wake or Quantum
Alan
Break,
Wake's great.
Control is Remedy's new game, and it's kind of like Alan Wake and Quantum Break meets. There's like some Inception, the movie. It's wild. It's a really slick game.
Yeah. Yeah, I know which one Dakota's saying yes to. She's a big Gears. We're all big Gears fans, but she's the biggest.
I haven't. I didn't play.
You should see some of her artwork she's done for Gears.
You'll have to.
Yeah.
You'll have to post.
Pretty crazy.
I didn't play Judgment and I didn't play 4. I downloaded 4 because it was a part of Game Pass, and then I got wrapped up in whatever else I got wrapped up in.
I know, that's kind of how it works. Okay, we went around. Ooh,
Careful. Security cameras belong to Lamb.
we can't hear what Tannenbaum's
If you are
saying.
clever, they can be made to
I mean,
serve
you know, to Baltimore's point, he's nailed the game that I'm just sitting here. I'm
I hate that hacking in this.
yeah.
So junky. So easy. You just hit a button, you're like, huh?
But yeah, Baltimore, I'm with you. We'll see what Death Stranding really plays like.
Gears and Borderlands for her.
Yeah, I said, didn't we all mutually agree? I think we're doing Borderlands on PlayStation at this point.
I
Is that
believe
where we're all
so.
playing?
Yeah, I think that's where everybody's in agreement on. We got some leaks. I'm gonna take some of that. Oh, is that the fuel? No, that's beans. I thought that was the fuel for the arm.
Yeah, Baltimore. I pulled it down as well.
There we go, rivets.
It's on my machine, and then with work happened, and then we got into Remnant, and then Control was right around the corner, and now it's just
Yeah. The end of the year always picks up really fast.
You know, I've heard this, and I don't know how convinced I am of this, but I've heard that the new Star Wars game, the combat is much more in the vein of the new God of War.
Yeah.
Which was kind of in the vein of it had some souls
Pop
to
Gears.
it. So
Dakota's playing Pop Gears. That's that one that's the Gears of War.
Is that the card one?
Yeah, no,
Or the-
it's like the Clash Royale style on
Right.
mobile. It's a fun little game. I'm glad you started playing it. I was wondering if you'd seen that message. Because I enjoyed it. I started playing the day it came out, man. It was fun.
Well, yeah,
we already did
didn't you
that.
get to play it a couple of days earlier?
Yes.
You had pre-registered or
Yeah.
something like that?
I was running the roost over there, man, until like everybody started
Until
to like,
everybody got in.
until everybody got in, and I wasn't winning anything. I won like 15 or 25 matches in a row, and then like people started getting good, and I got taken.
If I'm right, you can use it now. Please, find me.
Yeah, and then inside of Game Pass, I also tried. I didn't follow through with it because I didn't like it, but man, I really wanted to like Crackdown 3. I really wanted to like that game, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like 3 as much as I remembered liking 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Throw objects at foes.
Yeah, 1 and 2 were amazing. I've liked, well, 4 was the only one that was a little different, but I've liked all of them. I don't know. I still play a lot of... I still think Gears of War is an excellent game. Look at that, the thing looks weird. Why is that? Don't waste hacker ammo. Okay.
Well, because in 5, you play as, is it Cat?
Yeah, everybody's going to be playing on PS4, Baltimore. Yep. Sorry, go ahead. You were saying what?
Oh no, I was just I was following up with you on 5. I probably won't play on 9 right when it comes out.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing something interesting with the main character. Is it? It's Kate or Cat, and who's kind of a supporting character in 4, but now she kind of comes full focus in 5.
Right.
Only connect to the oldest parts of Hampshire now. The city's just
Oh, I'm out of bolts. No.
me behind. Plenty of cash in the bank, though.
Oh, sorry, no, not Gears on PS4. Borderlands.
Telekinesis is what
Sorry,
I mean.
Baltimore is what I was talking about.
That's what I needed, was telekinesis.
And if here in the next 5 minutes or so, we might make a reasonable time to transition.
Yeah, we'll probably jump over.
Jump over to Infinite.
Thought it was exclusive.
It was. We were just.
Oh,
it
sorry. I'm catching up.
It was Comstock. Yeah. We were talking about like 4 or 5 games at once, right?
Right,
there,
I know. We were rambling
it's
through
super
'em.
easy to.
I love talking about games.
Especially good games, and there's a lot of them right
and there's
now.
a lot of them coming out, which is ridiculous. It's so crazy when you have so many good games in one like shot.
Yeah.
You're just spending a ton of money. I was looking at like next year even. God, there's so many games that I want to buy, like Cyberpunk. Right at the beginning of the year, like tons. Watch Dogs Legions.
Yeah. Yeah, right off the bat, and then I think PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2 or whatever they want to call it will be things next year.
White is not black, Dr. Lamb.
After I will say, after having watched that Dying Light 2 stream,
You're all in on it.
I was all in on that anyways, and then I saw that and I was like, man, I don't know how they're gonna do that on PlayStation 4. I mean, it'd be impressive if they do, and I would love them to, but that looks great. That Ghost of Tsushima game out of Sony, that looked
looks really
fantastic a couple years ago.
Dude, I'm waiting for that one.
Pain of a phantom limb.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Dakota. Like when
Reality is
Epic stopped doing the story, it kind of went downhill for sure.
Take a walk.
When Microsoft took it over, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, isn't it made by the Coalition now? That studio that they kind of
Microsoft
quasi-formed, or however they want to call it.
Oh, that's another game that's coming out, Outer World. From Obsidian that comes out like October
25th.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. If you like
Using the splicers against
Fallout, that's going to be right up your alley.
So this is the
guarding the
because
little ones.
Oh, there's another one.
everyone always wanted to see Obsidian take another stab at Fallout because New Vegas is loved.
Yeah.
Right.
They got your money for Fortnite, Baltimore.
Genetic wonder drug called
They found you, and they were like, okay,
splicers scribbled
shake them
on walls
out.
like a
Get
warning.
all the money.
One of them.
Let's see. We could probably go ahead and jump over.
Sure.
Want to do that? You want to throw us on the full screen while I do that?
Yeah.
So that was Bioshock 2. What we're showing is actually, each individual game, but the collection is what you can buy. You can buy the games individually, and
Yep.
they're all the remastered versions, or you can buy the collection that has everything,
And
which
that
includes like the DLC for number 2, because this was the first Bioshock that actually had DLC. It was Minerva's Den.
Story DLC, yeah.
Yep.
There's a fun little piece of DLC that deals with artificial intelligence, I guess I'll say.
Yep.
Which it fits into the story in a very interesting way, right?
No, I mean, God, they did such a good job with all these, even the DLCs and everything for this game.
As we're
I'm going to hand this off to you.
as we're starting off Infinite, there's
Let's flip that over.
I like one, and one is still probably my favorite of all the Bioshock. I am quite fond of this. When you start dealing with various paradoxes, I guess we'll call them, the twins were excellent characters. You've got Booker DeWitt and
The best name in gaming is Booker DeWitt. Yeah,
Booker DeWitt, and then is it Elizabeth? I
Elizabeth.
believe,
Yep.
right? And then you've got Comstock.
Yeah, another great character.
So let's see here. So
Thanks, Baltimore.
we're gonna load up a chapter here. So
Yeah, boy, Judgment was a horrible game. Oh, God.
So-
in comparison to all the great things they did with Gears of War, when they made Gears of War Judgment, it was like, okay, all that went away. It was gone.
well, is that the one where you play as
I think you want that one, yeah.
Yeah, is that the one where you play as the blonde dude?
You play as, oh my God, what was it? Coltrane.
Yeah.
And, what is the little weasel's name that's the blonde guy?
And I can't remember it.
Oh man, I cannot believe that I forgot his name. But yeah, it was the one that introduced the tower defense components,
Right.
right? Or the horde mode, or whatever they wanted to call it. Which I got a chance. Funny enough, I played Gears of War Judgment a year before it ever came out. I was actually on that Microsoft
Okay.
testing and all that stuff, and I liked it at that point because they were just showing a little bit of it. But yeah, the story, to Dakota's point, like it kind of went downhill when Epic sold it off.
Right.
It was terrible writing. Yeah.
So we didn't start this game, Bioshock Infinite, right at the start. And the first couple games we started right, like intro. This kind of assumes a couple of things. You're already in the world of, gosh, I can't remember what this is called, Columbia.
Yep.
So you're already here, you're already playing as Booker, and unlike the past Bioshock games where you had this component of Big Daddy, Little Sister, this game is you've got more of a companion.
Yeah.
So you play as Booker, and then throughout the game, you kind of run through various scenarios with Elizabeth, who's got... I don't want to say powers.
She's got some special abilities.
Yeah, she's got some stuff going on.
Yeah. So Baird was the guy. Coltrane and Baird.
That's right.
Yeah, those were the two
right.
that you played in Judgment. But yeah, in this, so Comstock, is basically the overseer of Columbia.
Yeah,
He's kind of like the Lord and Savior kind of guy.
a quasi-religious figure.
Yeah. And right now we're at Monument Island, and we're going through the monument to get to where Elizabeth is. She's held on top of it. kind of like in a cage.
Comstock is holding on to Elizabeth for, shockingly, ulterior purposes. But Elizabeth is really none the wiser as to why this is going on around her.
She lives in like a Disney kind of like esque movie.
Right.
You know, like in her life, nothing's wrong. Like when you meet her, she's almost like talking to, not Cinderella, but one of the princesses.
Oh yeah.
In her mind, everything's fine.
Oh, things are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're sent there to go get her.
Yep.
And there's like a crazy entrance into Columbia. The whole thing about Columbia is it's in the sky.
Bioshock was underwater.
Yeah.
Columbia was.
It's a little bit even
of that?
more
Yeah.
eccentric kind of thing. Oh, Dom in Gears 3 when he died. Yeah, that was sad. When you could make like actual like characters you didn't think good guys died in video games kind of thing. Are we missing something on here?
I'm going to. I guess you can't flip VSync. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, VSync isn't on it?
I didn't see it.
Preset, Ultra, check under...
Yeah, I went to both. It wasn't...
Did you look under configure? Like, go to custom. So, graphics, then choose, instead of preset, custom, maybe?
Here.
Yeah. And then look down there and see if you can find VSync.
Yeah, it's all the same things.
Ultra, okay.
Oh, good.
Huh, weird.
No big deal.
I did see it tearing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird why they have to have that anymore. Yeah, the Zeppelin flying cities, it's awesome. Yeah, you're a big... So,
That's where we go.
I know this. Dakota's a big fan of, like, steampunk.
Okay.
So...
I did not, for all of our crossings and playing various games, I had not heard that.
It's under locked frame rate. I don't know. That's what Baltimore's saying. So under locked frame, there you go. On.
Look at that.
There it is. Isn't that weird?
Thank you.
Thanks, Baltimore. Ah, so there she is. And kind of she's in this thing, like you can see it's like a two-way mirror. Mm-hmm. Is kind of the setup for her. Like they view her all the time and keep an eye on her. Because they want to see the powers that she does have.
Yep.
But
Which the twins seem to kind of know more than you do about this.
Yeah.
But they don't explicitly tell you what's going on. This was the first game I also remember who, because Courtney Draper is the voice of Elizabeth, and then Troy Baker, who since this has made quite the name for himself as a voice actor in various games, whether it's new Marvel Avengers. I think he was Ocelot in Metal Gear 5. He plays as Joel in Last of Us. He plays Higgs in Death Stranding. He's basically in every voice actor. There we go.
Yeah, these are the things that she does. She opens up portals or tears. Yeah. She doesn't know how she does it.
It's got nothing to do with the job.
Time to get some answers. And then we will see the entity here soon. But this game, it doesn't have Big Daddies, and it doesn't have Big Sisters. Somewhere along the way, we're going to bump into Songbird.
Yeah.
Who...
And it kind of all flows together because she's supposed to be a caged person.
Yes.
Songbird is the protector.
Right.
That's what he really is. Kind of like the Big Daddies were protectors.
Right.
Library.
And the game gets crazy and crazier and crazier as you go forward. So yeah, here's kind of like the top of the monument. You're still in the clouds, so there's a city floating in the clouds. I don't know if you can look down a little bit. And that city is above another city where Booker started.
Yep. You start off like the first game. You start off in the water,
Yep.
a boat.
Yep.
You go to a lighthouse.
Yep.
And then you're shot into the sky.
Yes.
Right.
You start off in the water, in a boat.
Yep.
And then, yep. You go just a different direction.
Mm-hmm. And so you can't really see this, but as you're dropped into the city, there's a giant, I don't want to call it a Statue of Liberty, but that's kind of what it reminds me of Comstock. That's kind of what you're inching towards is where we're at. So we have climbed that tower at this point, and so we have climbed that tower, and we have found Elizabeth.
It's like just like a Disney movie.
Stop it! Will you stop it? Not here to hurt you.
Who are you?
My name is DeWitt.
Yes.
A friend.
Songbird does have some kind of power when he's around her.
Are you real?
I'm real enough.
She's got that thimble,
Yep.
which is explained
It comes
later in the game.
full
I
circle.
want to be here when he gets here. Just a minute, I'm getting dressed.
For anybody that kind of knows the twists and turns of the past of the first couple games, this doesn't have something
This is the way out.
that copies those, but it is not a straightforward, you're going to go take down the bad guy because he's bad, right? There's a whole cluster of concepts and themes that they play with in this game as to why you're doing this and who you are, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a way out.
Now, as you said, this is kind of where the best of the game starts.
This is where the game to me really kicks off. Yeah.
This way.
You never finished this one? Oh, it is really good.
Oh boy.
We'll see about
The
that.
DLCs are really good. Like, it ties everything together. I still question, like, did it tie 100%? It tied close enough. That's what I was looking for.
I remember when we all beat this game because we were all working here when this came out.
Oh, yeah.
And we pulled up the infographic that we were like, okay, so
What the hell just happened?
It takes some lines and a couple of charts to explain.
It does take some people talking about it, like, to figure it out.
I thought I knew what had happened, and then I got to work, and I'm talking to you. I think Destin runs over to our cube. I think John trips over, and we're all sitting there.
Stephen Ng, I think, got it. Or no, maybe Stephen wasn't there at that time. No, he wasn't. It was John, Destin, you, myself.
We were all
Scott.
We were
Scott
all-
was
yeah,
playing.
We were all sitting there chatting about this, trying to figure out.
Why?
I thought I knew,
Why did they
and
put me
then,
in
well,
here? What am I?
that was that.
What am I?
Yeah, there was some deep, like, Destin was the one that, like, he really kind of figured out some of it early on.
Yeah.
If I remember,
I think you're right, yeah. Well, as you can see, Songbird
Yep, he's not happy.
playing music, nor is he really a bird. He's a giant machine robot bird.
Yeah, he's a little angry at this point.
This way.
We have to keep moving. He's tearing the building apart.
Be careful,
He's
Elizabeth.
mad at me.
How do you know my name?
He let out his,
Hurry!
his prize or his, because he used to talk with her, like they were friends.
They communicate.
Yeah. Songbird and her are friends,
Out of the way. Let me
but
try.
yet he was programmed to keep her where she was,
Right.
and she doesn't want to stay there.
Which
Correct.
way?
They have a psychological indoctrinated bond. Okay, that's it.
And then you're trying to escort her out of here for other reasons.
Yeah. And not that Booker is a great guy either.
No, not. Yeah, absolutely.
He's not trying to
Absolutely
save.
not.
Oh yeah, here's where it goes to like
You get the hook, the music's
Insanity.
going, and you're flying over the city. Oh yeah, now you're having some fun.
yeah, this does look really good.
The bird screaming at you in the background. He's crashing through buildings. This is probably one of my favorite spots until you get to the last.
And there's the monument you were just in that's falling apart now. Can't have nice things in Colombia. Yeah, no, the hook was... There's actually a multiplayer DLC where all you do is play in like these arenas from within the game, and it's a lot of using the hook.
Yeah.
And flying around. It's pretty cool. Yeah, this is a hell of an entrance. They even have lakes and waters and beaches and everything. Oh.
Alright, bird. Toss you in the fryer.
Like that. So it's a pretty cool, pretty cool intro. This is kind of where the game really starts, I agree. Because now you've got Elizabeth, now you've got to go run around, do all the crazy stuff. Really open up the city kind of thing.
Yeah, so this is taking us back to the beginning of the game. You've got some kind of debt owed to someone. This is looking looking like some horse racing went on. As you can see, he's quite healthy. He consumes cigarettes and liquor.
Yep.
So
breakfast of champions.
Isn't that what everybody eats at the racetrack?
Exactly. And then it's like they basically say to pay off the debt, you got to bring the girl.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of how all games are. They always show off these games, and they're like, it'll do this, it'll do that, it'll do this. They always sell it above. But this one turned out pretty close.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you get this in the base game, but I know in the collection, because I've played through it and unlocked it. There's this really interesting art hall that shows just various concepts, and there's a really interesting documentary that you can kind of play through, and I think you have to like earn some of this in-game money to buy it or watch it or something like that. And it kind of elaborates on exactly what transpired with this game and how it came to be, and why he didn't work on 2, and why they went to Colombia, and how Elizabeth was a thing, and so. And I'm a super big fan, or we're super big fans of that when you get a little bit of the inside of.
Oh yeah, hearing kind of the whole story and everything. Yeah.
There's even a point in it where they show Courtney Draper and Troy Baker when they're voice acting, and their takes get like heated and emotional, and like people are crying, they're yelling and screaming at each other. It's serious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, to get kind of the actual like.
Right.
Emotional reaction from the, the characters that they have in the game, they have to get that way. It's pretty cool. It's definitely worth watching, and you linked it in there. Very cool. Thanks, Baltimore. So now Brooks has made it to the actual, like, sandy beaches that are in the sky, I guess. Is how they have it kind of based out. You get a chance to kind of go through and check out all the different designs, and it is the whole theme about the game is definitely Americana kind of themed, like over the top,
greatness everywhere.
Yeah.
And we've
calisthenics on the beach.
And then we've even kind of talked about where so if they did System Shock in space and they did Bioshock in the water, and they ended Infinite in the air, where do you take 4 as a setting? Right?
I mean, that's why I think you have to take it out to space.
Again.
Yeah. Where it started.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Right.
I mean, where else do you go? In the middle of the Earth, that'd be boring. I would think you'd have to go into outer space. I mean, they could go and just make a really good Bioshock on land, in normal. I don't know if you could do that though. Like the settings have been so eccentric
Right.
That could you just make it like, oh yeah, you're just going to New York City.
Bioshock and Bellevue or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It just wouldn't seem right.
Yeah, one of the big hooks of this game was the
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
this game came at a time when AI companions were not great, to say the least. So,
oh yeah.
So when people showed this off, and you were like, oh, you're dragging this little girl around the city, great. You know, she's gonna die. She's gonna get you in these precarious situations. She's more of an assistive teammate than she is like a chore.
Yeah.
That you have to babysit.
Yeah, this was the first time like what you're saying, like a co-op partner run by AI was actually good.
Right.
The rest of them had been like, kind of clunky, kind of get in the way.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. It is definitely like
Anything like that before, have you?
Dakota said. It's all you'll be happy or else. Yeah, that's exactly what it is in this world. It's definitely like obliviously happy.
Yeah, and then this as you're playing the game, it takes you through a very interesting perspective on American history.
Yep.
To your point, which is really, really cool the way it's presented.
It's definitely a different take. It's almost like comparing the way they do. It's almost like comparing the. What do I want to say? It's almost like comparing the alternative history of like Wolfenstein to the way Bioshock to the way they do the alternative history in Wolfenstein.
Right.
You know, if the Nazis won, this is how the world would be. If, Comstock goes forward, this is how the world will be, kind of thing. But yet, it's not affecting the world below. I don't know. It's kind of this weird thing,
Fall into the water did you no favors.
This takes what, in 60s something?
This is.
Forget when this one takes place.
I don't have that up on my notes.
Nothing beats the cage.
This is certainly after the first two, so this is going to be.
Never mind.
Late. This has got to
The game is set in the year of 1912.
Oh, okay. It's.
Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking it was even later. But 1912 is when this is set. So, there's 1912 up here, and there's 1912 below, and we haven't even made the world underneath the water yet, kind of thing.
But then there's these tears.
Yeah.
Starts to explain.
And she sees things in Paris and all sorts of stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm sure.
oh, there's the Latrice twins.
Latisse.
Latisse.
Is that what it is?
If you're going to be a sore loser, then I shan't do this again.
Let's make you feel like you're making a choice, and I don't actually think it matters.
Are you alright?
Oh, and by the way, the Latisse twins, if you hadn't seen that, they were the ones that took you on the boat to get to this place.
Yes.
Yeah, they show up all throughout the game for anybody that has never played it. Yeah, that was the one thing, Dakota. There's nothing. They're kind of brainwashed in the sense of there's nothing below the clouds. The people that live up here don't know really about much from down below. Comstock wanted it that their world is perfect up here, no involvement. He has some deal with the government.
Right.
Columbia floats around certain patterns.
What does it look like? Done.
It's pretty wild, like the way it was designed.
Trapped in a tower with nothing but books and spare time?
Some tickets.
You would be surprised what I know how to do.
I must take any task with more than the slightest complaint. Oh, hello, sir.
Yeah, and then there's you'll get to a point where the game has opinions or about I don't know what we call it, race.
Race,
right?
yeah, definitely contextual, time-sensitive thoughts on race. When the game came out, it was another time when we were heated debates
Right.
in the real world. That's always a good game is when it like here's the couple if you turn around right there that we had saved.
Daisy always said somebody like you would come along.
This is at the beginning?
At the beginning,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Okay, yeah. You know, and it's kind of funny, this, we talked about it a little bit. You can see, late after, after this game was released and, you know, developers had come and gone from various studios, a bunch of people involved in the Bioshock games had gone and worked on that We Happy Few game.
Oh, yeah.
And you can, like, stylistically, you can absolutely see it.
Yeah, we had a chance to play that on the Weekly
ago.
Tangent Show
Yeah.
a couple months ago, yeah. And that one, yeah, it definitely had the feel of Bioshock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done very well. I mean, it's it pays homage to Bioshock in the same idea. You know, the way they built the game, the way it looks. It's just really cool. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. What is it? There's another part of the game where you can build out a museum. And how did you add things to that? Was that playing the multiplayer, or was that as you played through this game?
That's in the hall. That's the thing I was talking
hall,
about, where
yeah.
you can unlock the documentary, where you unlock various things
That's right.
to take a look at.
That's right. That's what I was just trying to think, because it reminded me this area is pretty close to that.
It is, yeah. And I don't remember exactly how you earned everything to go.
Actually, I was going to say, if you want, jump out of the game here whenever you got a chance, and let's take a look. There may be, I might have unlocked that stuff. So we can take a look at a little bit something else within the game here, too.
Yeah, let's... Yeah, because I think... It'd be cool if it was just unlocked. So DLC... And we won't even get into Burial at Sea. We'll let everybody run with their imagination as to where you
Was it Clash in the Clouds is where the...
No, that's the challenge mode. That was DLC 1.
Back up.
So
It's here somewhere. Main game, maybe? No, maybe not.
Here, why don't you drive for a second? I'm gonna pull.
Let's take a look. We're just trying to see. Is this the one with the cult? Yes, there's a cult in this game.
Hall of Heroes.
Hall of Heroes, yeah, that was it. I thought it was in the DLC, and I thought it was Clash in the Clouds. Let's take a look. Because that's where you kind of kick off the multiplayer matches, I thought. Like, was within that area. The DLC was, it was a season pass, so there's like, it's definitely beefy. I mean, Burial at Sea 1 and 2, that's probably a good 4 or 5 hours of gameplay, if not a little bit more.
Well, those pieces are what wraps all of Bioshock together.
Yeah.
All 3 of these games.
The motorized Patriots. They had some really good characters. So yeah, here's all the different things that I've unlocked. I believe if we keep walking down here, this is going to be the actual, like, Hall of Heroes.
Okay. There's a big thing right in the middle of the room. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay.
So these are all the unlocks that you can do, and
yes,
you know, Songbird obviously is one, that's pretty awesome.
Is everything unlocked for you in here already? I think it is.
I think I've got a lot of it unlocked. Yeah.
Okay.
Booker DeWitt, that's your guy. That's Comstock. I forget.
That's it. That's your buddy that you were on the battlefield with.
Yeah.
You meet him later in the game.
She was the revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
There's the... What was that? What's she pushing me around for? There's Latisse.
What happens if you walk up to that tear?
I think you can go through this.
Enter tear. Okay.
And you go to this their house.
I've played this little chunk of the game before. I do not remember this though.
Funny enough, Dakota, this Bioshock DLC was pretty decent. Or sorry, the multiplayer was pretty decent in Infinite. Like they definitely fixed it up.
Because you had the hooks.
Yeah.
You in it. That's right.
Yeah, it was like really fast.
So
you were playing pretty fast.
Scooting around. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can do anything here.
Yeah, because I remember playing. We were all sitting in Redmond. This is when me and John, our cubes were back to back.
Yeah.
And your office was on the other side of the building, and we were all sitting there, and we were all talking shop about this. And then these DLCs had come out.
Yeah.
Which we were like, we thought we knew what was going on with the end of this game, and then you start dealing with the airplane from the first game, and it gets crazy.
Yeah, no, they wrap it around for sure. I don't think there's anything else unlocked here. No. So I think we can head back. So now we're back in the Hall of Heroes. But yeah, all these paintings you unlock. I forget how you actually unlock them. The floating cities.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do anything with them? No. Bettermans. Yeah, look at them. They're like hearts and all that, and heads. These are the different Elizabeth costumes.
There's the old Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm. There's time travel in this game, everything.
Yeah.
Then you can hear stories. I don't think do I have everything unlocked? I think I do. Yeah. All of this stuff. These are just different moments you can watch in those connectoscopes.
Those videos were a cool little way that they had in the first couple games. You had the tapes.
Yeah.
Which would you would listen to the past. Awesome. On the tapes, you would kind of listen to the past, but in this one, you would they had these, what would you call them? Propaganda films?
Yeah, it was basically
right?
propaganda. Yeah, let's see if we can do one. I don't even know if we'd find anybody.
Try it. Let's just see.
We'll try one match before.
We found the secret multiplayer community.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's that one game I was
blowing
telling you
up
about?
on Reddit tomorrow. Be ready.
What was that one game I told you that's like, oh, it's the original Prey game. It's like a hidden community in Steam.
Yes.
Because you can't buy the game any longer on Steam, but the forums and everything are still active and the game still plays.
But don't you have to have a key?
You have to go to like G2A to
Yeah.
buy the key to be able to get into the damn thing. It's kind of funny. Prepare for battle. All right. Oh, this isn't the multiplayer. This is the one where you compete against.
Now.
This is like a wave mode.
A wave mode, yeah.
And she's constantly, so when you're in and out of combat, Elizabeth will build you barriers, automated guns.
Yeah.
And then she's constantly throwing you money, throwing you health, throwing you ammo, throwing you, it's not Adam and Eve. I'm trying to remember what the,
You can just zip around all the time on this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To get away and to get your, like, shield back up. Okay, jump off there. And it's done well. I mean, these wave modes were really fun. You can just run around unlocking stuff. Opening tears. Grabbing extra stuff. Oh no, where's... where'd it go? Ah. Thanks. The guy can jump like nobody's business.
Oh yeah.
You can leap in the air like
There you go.
2 stories.
Absolutely.
Wave complete.
Slate. That's what the guy's name was thinking more.
Yeah, the wave modes were pretty fun, and you can unlock a ton of stuff. You get what was it? Ribbons. So like here, I could go ahead and like just defeat whatever the wave is and all that stuff, or I could leave, or I could stock up, start next wave, or you can go out this way. I think if you want to end it. Yes.
Your chance for
So
atonement is
a lot of actual Bioshock Infinite had a lot of good stuff. I enjoyed it.
It also got it did, and it got quite a bit of support afterwards, where they released the DLC, and then because it took them, they even had to come out and comment where they were like, "Look, the DLC's meaty, it's coming in pieces.
Yep.
This is not. We're not churning out DLC in 6 or 8 weeks. You know. I
No,
think
they
it was
wanted
after
to make a
year
good
or whatnot
run.
after the game had come out.
For sure.
To get the full conclusion.
Well, I think that about covers it. We've played all 3. You can actually pick up the game on the Bioshock collection. So that's what we were kind of showing off, was the Bioshock collection. But we definitely wanted an excuse to play a little bit of Bioshock.
Went back one more time.
Yeah, it's always fun. Love to have sat there and played. I don't know. One of these days we need to figure out like doing a stream, a full like repetitive stream where we play through a full game over a period of time or something.
Right.
That'd be pretty fun.
We'll have to find something that'll work kind of lengthwise for that.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these games are...
Yeah, I mean, this game alone, what was it to get through Bioshock Infinite? Probably 10 hours? 8 to 10 hours?
And that's like if you were crashing
If you rush through it,
yeah,
kind of thing. If you want to take your time and go through a game, I mean, you know, you're looking at like weeks of a playthrough or something like that.
Right.
So, appreciate it, Baltimore. Thank you. And thank you for showing up. Dakota, thank you for hanging out. Everybody else that stopped in, we greatly appreciate it. You can always, very nostalgic, yes. Yes, it is. You can always check us out on here. You usually find us on the front page of Wild Tangent, a link to see all the old videos and everything like that. We keep this running, so if you hadn't seen an episode, you can always go back and go through the playlist and see like the first weekly tangent all the way up to episode 29. So we're on our way to 52 episodes, which would be a full year, so that'll come sometime in January. But we greatly appreciate everybody hanging out. If you haven't subscribed to it, click the subscribe button. If you haven't given us a like or dislike, definitely do that. Let us know how you like the show. We can always change it. We've changed it up a little bit. Where now we play games instead of like just show some games and then play like one game. So that's actually worked out really well. We've had some of the best videos come out of the past few shows, so we've been really happy with that. We did hit the partnership thing that we were looking to do on Wild Tangent, or on YouTube for Wild Tangent. So that was a goal when we started this, of getting like, you know, plus 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 plus hours of views. We've met that. We're well over that now on both accounts. So we appreciate everybody's support. Love having everybody here.
Yeah, that was a big goal for us. We'd been aiming at that for.
We hit that last week sometime.
Yeah, we hit that last month. It was like Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night, and we'd worked on that since. But really January when we kicked this off. I mean, we took it over in November. We were doing some stuff, but yeah, we were able to hit that pretty shortly. So we appreciate everybody doing that and hanging out for us and checking out the videos. And hope to see everybody here next week. Next Thursday, we'll be talking about more games and definitely bringing back some stuff that we've done with PAX West as well. We don't know the next game that we're going to play yet. We'll have to figure that out. We did sign, as you can see here. Thank you, Baltimore. Appreciate it, man. And yes, definitely, it does have a lot of... Bioshock does offer a lot of replay value, Dakota. It's a great game. And we did, you know, to that fact, we did bring on Bioshock, and we've brought on 2K into Wild Tangent, so we've got like all their franchises to go through. We launched Dying Light last week, we were saying.
Yeah, Darkness 2 was up.
Darkness
Spec
2.
Ops was up. Carnival Games VR was up.
So now we got all the big ones left, like Grand Theft Auto and Bully and Manhunt and all that stuff, as well as a ton of different other ones like NBA 2K and all the others.
The WWE stuff we might.
Yeah, we might have to tread some water into there because I know both of us can talk about WWE for sure. We were big fans of wrestling, so even more Daedalic stuff too. We've got a fun one that they just released. I've got to see. Maybe next week we'll do that. It's Unrailed. I think that comes out just in time for that show. So we might be deploying Unrailed and talking about that on the next weekly tangent.
That's not the puzzle one that they just
That's
released.
the one that's like, it's a train. It's kind of like a train set game, but you're playing it like Overcooked.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that one, we might be doing that next week.
Yeah, okay.
Bully, we've got Bully coming up too. Yeah, Dakota. It would be, Bully's a good one. We ran like Max Payne even, that series. That's a good one.
I could endlessly talk about Manhunt, a criminally underrated game.
Yeah,
I think.
All the Grand Theft Autos, those are all awesome as well. So, yeah, we've got a lot to discuss just along with the 2K stuff. And you'll see that stuff deploying throughout the next few weeks over the month of September. We'll be running those. But, hopefully we'll come back with some interesting stuff. And we will be doing some giveaways, I think, next week starting. So,
sounds good.
Get back into that. But for the rest of us here, and thank you for watching as always, we will see you next Thursday, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And if we don't talk to you in between there, have a great weekend. Otherwise, look for some stuff out of PAX West maybe on Friday, tomorrow. Might be sending some photos and that stuff. We'll post them on YouTube and Twitter so everybody gets a chance to see them. If we can stream, I don't know, we'll try. I'll give it a shot. But otherwise, have a great weekend. Talk to you later, folks.
Take it easy.
See ya.